Hello. In this video, I'm going to demonstrate the main features of the RapiCover Report Viewer. I am using a coverage report generated by the RapiCover tool, which is being integrated into a unit test framework supplied with the Crazyfly open source quadcopter. When opening the report, the first tab that is displayed contains information about the origin of the report and any warnings that were generated by the instrumentation tools. The Coverage Summary tab, which shows the overall percentages for each of the coverage metrics that were measured. This project has been configured for DO-178 Level A, so we have measured function entry and exit coverage, statement coverage, decision coverage, and MCDC. By integrating with the test framework, we can measure the coverage distributed by each individual test case. Using the Coverage Datasets tools, you can turn coverage on or off from individual tests or groups of tests. This per-test data can be used to detect tests which are redundant in terms of coverage, using the optimal dataset calculator. It is even possible to record the duration of tests and use this to calculate the shortest overall test run, which is expected to achieve a certain level of coverage. This can be useful if you want to perform a dry run to ensure you have sufficient coverage but don't want to run all of the tests. In this case, the same overall coverage can be obtained by running 28 out of the 32 tests. If you are only working in one area of the software, the Coverage Scope tool can be used to limit the data reported to a subset of folders, files, or functions. Coverage can be viewed hierarchically using the tree map view, where each rectangle represents a folder, file, or function. The red color indicates no coverage, yellow is partially covered, and green indicates full coverage. The size of each rectangle is determined by the number of lines of code, so you can see at a glance where the coverage holes lie and how much code is affected, and then drill down for more detail. The next 4 tabs show the individual coverage metrics in more detail, starting with function coverage. You can aggregate the data by folder, file, function, or show each individual coverage element. You can also use the report navigator to browse source files or functions, arranged alphabetically or according to the call tree. The Statements tab shows statement coverage. If you click on the source file names, you will be taken to that location in the source code viewer. The code is shaded to show the coverage per line. On the right of the screen is an overview that can be used to jump to certain sections of the source file. By right-clicking on a line of code, it is possible to see which test cases cover that element. At the bottom of the file, there is some code that doesn't appear to be shaded. If we choose to show the pre-processed version of the source file, it becomes clear that these are macros and expand to variable definitions which are not executable code. You can also choose to view the instrumented code. Here you can see the individual I-points inserted by the instrumenter. On the Decisions tab, you can aggregate by the type of decision. This can, for example, be used to find all of the switch statements which are not covered. A common source of coverage holes in switch statements are default labels which are mandated by coding standards but may be unreachable. RapiCover lets you address these cases by creating a justification. You can enter a title and accompanying text describing why the element couldn't be covered during testing. To speed up the process of creating justifications, you can create templates for common issues. For additional traceability, you can add your own custom fields to justifications. These can either be free text or a list of values. The justified code will be shaded in blue to show it has been addressed through analysis rather than testing. The MCDC tab is slightly different to the other tabs, in that each decision has its own page, which shows additional information. You can see the original source code for the decision, along with individual conditions that have been identified by the tool. You can see the coverage result for each condition. Here, conditions 1 and 2 are covered, as they have been observed to independently determine the outcome of the decision. Finally, the bottom panel shows which individual vectors have been observed, and which could be added in order to achieve full coverage of the decision. The Justifications tab shows an overview of all justifications that have been created. You can see the description text and aggregate by the coverage metric or the value of custom fields. The Structure tab shows structural information about the code, such as the number of lines and the number of instrumentation points. You can compare a coverage report against a report from an earlier version of the software. When this is done, each value that is shown is the difference between the two reports. This applies to all the individual metric tabs. Thank you for viewing this video. These are just some of the features of RapiCover. If you would like a full demonstration of RapiCover and all of its features, please contact us at inquiries@rapitasystems.com or visit rapitasystems.com/RapiCover to learn more.